Hi there, welcome back to the 67 Hail Hail channel with me, Hamish Carton. We have got Jackie McNamara and John McGinley with me. Jackie, another quiet week of supporting Celtic. We know, Neil Lennon's left the club now, former teammate of yourself. We know it's was difficult maybe for you to comment while he was in the role. Nowadays, or at this point, do you feel now that it was the right time for Neil Lennon to leave the club?
I think I said last week, it's not been great watching the stuff happening to him, and to take him out that firing line, I think maybe a bit of relief for him now that he's. But I think I've said for a number of months there's more issues than just the manager. I think even the change and the difference there, that there's not been much change, even though Neil's gone. Even the game against Aberdeen was just kind of what we've been watching most of the season. I know maybe one difference with Kamala coming in from the start, but in terms of the structure of the team and the actual the way they were playing, there was no real change. You wouldn't have known that it was any different.
Did you see any signs of positive change at all, Jackie, or did you just feel like it was, it could have been a Lennon game? I mean, for me, I thought they were a little bit more patient in possession and kind of waiting for the full-backs to maybe make a run before giving the ball to them. But what were your thoughts on that?
Possibly a little bit better in possession. I think when we got the goal, this was a bit of fortune in the goal, the deflection. But but I just thought it was possession, a lot of possession, without really hurting. I don't remember their goalkeeper having any real saves to make in the game, or as I said, it's like a lot of the games this season are relying heavily on the fullbacks to create something from the wider areas. It's still far too narrow for me. In the approach to the game, I thought they were comfortable enough. Aberdeen didn't really cause any problems. They'd won one or two little efforts, but mostly set pieces, which, Bain had a decent save early on, which was a 2 bits of that from the corner. But, there wasn't a lot of instance in the game. I thought it was quite a dull match, to be honest.
Definitely was. I think we're all feeling like that at the moment. Every game seems to be a bit of a slog. I think with John Kennedy in charge, some of us were maybe, set the bar a little bit too high. We were expecting a little bit more, and certainly the first half they were playing quite well. But once again, Jackie, we got that, change at whatever point, whether it's 30 minutes, 45, 60, you always know Celtic are going to kind of slip back into that kind of, poor football that we've seen too much this season.
Yeah, it seemed to hit a kind of a wall, if you like, at certain times in the game, whether it be fitness or, I know they're pressing high at times there, they're getting at them and getting attention to the ball back. But that's something obviously they can't do for the 90 minutes. So that, I think the second half they tailed off a little bit. Even when they made the changes, I don't think there was a real, impact in the match.
There's been a lot of talk, Jackie, from within Celtic, from Kennedy, etc., about the emotions of the last week and how the players are feeling and how that might have taken its toll. What is it like when a manager, leaves Celtic that's perhaps leaving under a cloud or is a legend of the club? And I'm thinking specifically back to your time under Tommy Burns. Is it a mental toll on the players as much as anything?
Yeah, it's disappointing. When they leave, I think it's from the dressing room side, you feel bad because you look at your own performance, you could have done more. Because with Tommy's departure was quite unexpected because of the result, in the cup game. Expect to go through. So it wasn't like Neil's has been kind of ongoing for a number of months with the unrest and the support before Christmas, and that vote of confidence. So it wasn't really I wouldn't say it would be a real shock to the players, after the defeat away at Ross County, a bad performance. So I wouldn't think it would be a massive shock, similar to John Barnes leaving when I was there, John Barnes, but it was building a little bit before the Inverness game, and obviously that was the final nail. So that wasn't a massive shock. But the players now will be looking at their own, futures to see, waiting to see who's going to come in, if it's going to be a change of manager, if it's going to be John Kennedy to the end of the season. So there'll be a lot of uncertainty there as well. A lot of them looking around to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate football's probably moved on quite a lot from when you played with regards to, dare I say it, players maybe, I don't know if this is controversial, but do players maybe care a little less than they did when you played? Do you think players in that Celtic squad will be feeling guilty, will be feeling that they've let Neil Lennon down, or do players not care anymore?
I think there'll be some there that that he's brought into the club or been involved with, and have got a good relationship with. They'll feel a bit, I wouldn't say guilty, but they'll feel a bit disappointed the way it's went. And the manager always carries a can, unfortunately. The players, but players do. They, as you said, they worry about themselves. They worry about their next manager is, and their own futures at the club or elsewhere.
Jackie, you've also played under a caretaker manager before. What is it like when you know someone's only going to be in charge until the end of the season? Is it a bit like when you have a substitute teacher at school? Or is it just kind of, will there still be focus in that dressing room, is what I'm asking?
Yeah, again, there's a lot of things come into it. Pride, their futures, so, no matter who comes in, they'll still be watching just now. The next manager, whoever it will be looking at stuff and watching the games back. I was fortunate that the guy that came in, my temporary teacher, as you call it, was one of my heroes growing up in Ken Dalglish, which was, for me, it was fantastic to work for. And I loved playing under him. I thought he was great. We won the cup at the end of the season, the league cup, before we finished. So no, it was great. It was great for me, when he took over to the end of the season, but we still didn't know what was happening with new manager, and obviously until Martin O'Neill was announced.
Yeah, John giving a wee insight into how he behaved at school back in the day, in his Dundee school. Jackie, with regards to John Kennedy, do we think Kennedy can achieve anything in these last 8 games, or is this just a period where it's just all he can really do is help us to win games and we move on? Or, can anything be built in these last couple of months of the season?
I don't think so. I think the only bits you would kind of look at would be the fringe players, to see if, we spoke about this before, the younger ones, to see if they can handle it, to give them a chance. Where he's maybe done that with Kamala, because we've not seen much of him this season. But for the younger ones there that in the squad, are they going to get an opportunity to see if they can handle it? And I think for John's own side, it's a chance for him to maybe do something that his own, that he maybe didn't agree with Neil with. He would have done things differently, given the chance. So it's his opportunity to do that, to see what differences he can make, improvements to the team.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Adam Montgomery on the bench and Ewan Henderson on the bench, and there has been a lack of youngsters even on the bench of late. And I've always thought throughout the season with the 5 substitute rule, it was more of an opportunity to bring some of these players into the team. So I would certainly be looking for more young players, between now and the end of the season. You wanting anyone else in particular, Hamish, to come into the team?
Mikey Johnson, I think, is one that goes under the radar. I've commented on him before, but I think everyone just kind of assumes that Mikey Johnson is no longer a young player, and he probably isn't. But in terms of, becoming a regular in the first team, he's never really been a regular for any kind of period of time. Who played? El Yunusi came on Saturday. We kind of played a weird kind of formation, didn't we, with Turnbull and Christie kind of playing all over. But I'd maybe like to see a 4-2-3-1 and get Mikey Johnson a good run in the team and get to see what he's all about, because he's a talent, but he's yet to do it from the start for me. He's the kind of player we could really build a team around, or could be part of a winning team in years to come. Just finally, Jackie, I think I'm right in saying you played alongside John Kennedy for some period of your career. Was he always the kind of guy you felt could be a Celtic manager, even an interim manager at some stage? Did he have that kind of aura about him?
It's hard to say back then. He was a young kid. He was quiet, but like young Sean Maloney, similarly used to hang about together, the two of them, quite pals. But he kind of came onto the scene, and he had a crazy sort of 2 weeks where he played the Old Firm game, played against Barcelona, away with Scotland, and suffered that horrendous injury. So it was such a fantastic bit for him to start with, but it soon is the way football is. It's pretty sad what happened to him. It was a horrendous challenge that was on him when he played against Romania. I think it was with Scotland.
Guinea, wasn't it? Guinea.
Yeah, I actually teamed up with him when I went to Wolverhampton. He came to Wolverhampton, and
Any words for him?
Well, I actually came back. So I'd done my cruise shoot down there, and one of the games I was in training, I was when I came back myself. but it was a nice challenge for such a young lad. It wasn't even you can have some bad challenges. You'll go in 50-50 with somebody, but for me that was a horrendous challenge.
And just a final impossible question from me. I'll ask it to you, John. Jackie, you can chip in as well. How good was John Kennedy? Like, how good could he have been from judging from what we saw of him as a player?
Well, it's difficult from the outside, especially since we didn't really get to see him play a consistent run of games. I mean, as Jackie alludes to, he really announced himself in the team quite quickly, and then was out of it just as quick. It seemed to go by in a flash of an eye. But the chat from within Celtic over the years has always been that he could have been a top player, and it was kind of coming through. I think he signed on the same day as a youth player with Stephen McManus, and McManus went on to play 200 times for Celtic and captain the club, so he probably could have had that kind of career at Celtic. I don't know what the chat was about Kennedy back then, Jackie.
Yeah, likewise. I think the two of them came in, Mick and him were kind of the same. I think he was probably slightly better on the ball than Mick. He read the game well. Maybe a bit rash at times into tackles, but I think he made up the lack of pace in certain areas, with his timing. But yeah, he would have probably had a good career. He'd, as I said, he read the game well, with a good calmness about him. Very like all young kids come through at Celtic. He was very, very good in the ball. He could see a pass and read the game well.
There we go, McManus and Kennedy reunited again in the Celtic coaching team alongside Gavin Strachan. That's all from us for today. I think we're going to do a video later in the week taking a look at potential candidates to be the next Celtic manager. That should be fun. Join us for that. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, give that a go as well, and we'll speak to you soon.